What is going on, guys? Gauthaman and Ramesh here, and this video is going to be a very important video as I talk about the rest interval that you have to take when you're working out. Working out has become a big hobby right now, and we all have our requirements for it. Each of us have different goals, and we all find the best possible route that we take to reach our goals. And weight training helps you in a lot of different activities, and to mainly classify them, you can actually classify them as building your strength, hypertrophy, which is you want to get big, you want to build muscle, and the third thing is for athletic purposes. Okay, these are the three main ways through which you actually go and work out at the gym, and this is what our main goal is. And to do this, there are several methods, and there are small things that you have to change as an athlete to accomplish your goal. And some of the things and some of the variables that you find out in the gym or something like number one, which is intensity. How much intense do you work out? The second thing is the workout volume. The third thing is the workout frequency. And the fourth thing, which is actually something that will affect all of these three previous things, is something which is called as the rest interval that you take between sets, as this actually has a direct or an indirect outcome on training volume, training frequency, and training intensity. Because when you change the rest interval between sets, I'm going to show you guys a couple of studies which will suggest you that it actually has a lot to do with the outcome. And rest interval between sets is something that is actually neglected a lot, and it is not given the importance that it has to be given, because there are really studies that have shown results which are only dominant or which are only based upon the rest interval between sets. So in this video, I'm going to be taking up three studies which we are going to be seeing, which indicate the importance of rest intervals and how rest intervals are to be taken specific to your goal. So if you want to build muscle, how much of rest interval are you supposed to be taking between sets? Or if you are someone who is only focused on building strength, then how much rest interval are you supposed to take? And if you're someone who is into athletics, who is into explosive movements, then how much rest interval are you supposed to be taking during your training? So these three studies are going to be taken, and I'm going to break this down to you all. So we all have a different way of working out. We all have a different splits of working out, because some of us do a push-pull leg routine. Some of us do an upper body, lower body routine. Some of us do chest and back and biceps kind of a routine, and some of us do single muscle groups. But that is not the real concern here. The only thing that is common between all of these three, all of the different splits that you guys see, is the amount of rest that you take between sets, because that is one thing that can always be altered, and you can always get a different result out of the entire workout. So right now we are going to be taking the first paper, okay, which is actually a paper called as rest interval between sets in strength training. So this is a study that is based upon a lot of other research papers, and we are going to be looking at the abstract and what this paper suggests. So according to this paper, a study had been conducted on people who did 30% to 50% of 1 rep max, and they had a rest interval of 3 to 5 minutes between sets. And it was found out that these people had better strength gains. They could always have more strength working out towards the next set. So which shows that if you have a longer period of rest interval between sets, it favors more of strength building. But also it suggested that for hypertrophy, 30 to 60 seconds between sets seems more effective. So if you're someone who's looking to build muscle, then 30 to 60 seconds between sets was enough. But this is very specific towards your goals. So it showed that shorter rest intervals proved more repetition velocity and more torque, which is something that replicates your athletic point of view. Like if you train with very low rest intervals, I'm talking about 20 to 30 seconds, then it actually showed that it was more effective for people who are into athletics, who are into sport training, because this kind of resulted in having better velocities of muscle when it actually, like, when you're doing a rep, it showed that the velocity was more and the torque was more, which means explosiveness. So this favored towards athletes. So if you're an athlete, if you are looking to train to the best of your goals, then it will always be better for you to keep the rest interval pretty short, and I'm talking about 20 to 60 seconds. If you're someone who is towards strength, according to this paper, it was always better to have a rest interval of 3 to 5 minutes. And if you're someone who is into hypertrophy, it is always better to have a rest interval of 1 minute. So, I'm going to go through all of these 3 papers, and we are going to have our own little conclusion which says what you should do for what. So, according to the second paper, which is nothing but a paper called as the effect of rest interval training on bench press performance, high versus light loads. So this paper only focused on bench press. So people were asked to do bench press at different rep ranges and with different percentages of 1 rep max, and it showed that the test had been conducted for 80% of 1 rep max, and people did the test with 1 minute between sets, 2 minutes between sets, and 3 minutes between sets. So people who took 3 minutes of rest between sets found out that they were able to retain more strength toward the entire workout. But people who took only 1 minute did not quite feel that, they kind of got exhausted. So again, this shows that 3 minutes is always good enough for you if you're someone who is looking towards strength. And which is what we want when we want to achieve compound movements like squat, bench and deadlift. So there's no point in doing squat, bench and deadlift for sets of 3 or sets of 5 with just 1 minute of rest between sets. So there your entire target is to make sure that you retain as much of strength as possible throughout the entire workout. So what you do is, it is always better for you to have 2 to 3 minutes of rest. So moving on to the next paper, which is called as the effect of different rest intervals between sets on volume components and strength gains. In this paper, the study was conducted on 2 groups and they were asked to squat with the same amount of load. So one group took around 2 minutes of rest interval, and then the other group took 4 minutes of rest interval. So it was found out that the group that took 4 minutes of rest interval was able to retain more strength throughout the workout, whereas the group that took 2 minutes kind of felt it hard, and the strength that they retained kind of started degrading. So they couldn't keep up with the strength. So this shows that always higher rest is favored towards retaining your strength, but at the same time there was not much difference between a 3 minute and 4 minute. So taking 3 minutes of rest between sets and taking 4 minutes of rest between sets did not actually show a lot of difference. So there is no point in taking a longer rest time, because that kind of helps you to get your mind off of it. You won't be able to be in the zone. So the most efficient time for you for strength training, for you if you're looking to do heavy compound movements, if you're a powerlifter who wants to make sure that you retain your strength throughout the workout, then 3 minutes between sets is most optimal. And if you're someone who is looking towards hypertrophy, then you're supposed to always stick towards a rest range of 1 minute to 2 minutes. So on exercises like isolated movements like your bicep curls or your tricep extensions, which where you actually don't care about how much you lift, but it is more about creating that hypertrophy, then on exercises like these you can always implement just 1 to 2 minutes of rest between sets. But when you move on to exercises like bench press, like your squat, like your deadlift, like your close grip rows for your back, for your pendlay rows, and all of these things where strength plays a very important role, so there you're supposed to take a rest of between 3 to 4 minutes between sets. So this will give you an optimal performance where exercises that target more towards hypertrophy are achieved, and exercises that target more towards strength, they are also satisfied. So if you're an all-round performer who wants to just increase strength, but at the same time you want to get on big, so make sure you give at least 1 to 2 minutes for isolated exercises and 2 to 4 minutes for compound movements. Move on to the third part, which is people who are mainly athletes. Here, the way you train has to be completely different, and you focus more on explosiveness. And for these kind of people, having very short rest intervals has proven better results. So if you are an athlete, always make sure that your rest interval between sets are very minimal. So you take only 20 to 30 seconds or 20 to 40 seconds between sets and get your workout in fast. So I really hope that this gave you a summary, and I'm also going to put the key points down at the end of the video. Make sure you take a look at that. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy more videos like these where I actually show you guys some real science, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be making a lot of such videos. And if you think that this video was very complicated and you want me to simplify it even further, I'll do it in the upcoming video. So thanks a lot. Make sure you leave a comment down below telling me how you think this video is. So because this is something new. And also make sure you follow me on Instagram at gmansuperfit. And if you want to hire me as your online personal trainer, make sure you send me an email at gauthamansuperfit@gmail.com. And I'll see you all on the next video.